3 weeks ago, we learned of Mayor Nuttall's intention to give $50 million of our tax dollars to a weapons company who might set up shop in Barrie. This generous offer brings Barrie into alignment with Carney and Ford's push for more and more and more military spending. This push, while couched in the language of sovereignty and defense, is simply an effort to give concessions to American weapons companies and curry favor with the Trump regime. We are told that we should be grateful for any jobs that these companies bring into our community, regardless of the moral and psychological impact of this type of employment. We have a perfect example of how the arms industry in Canada works just 45 minutes north of us in Midland, Ontario. There, workers at Raytheon Alcan make parts of the GPS-guided Tomahawk missile, which was used in February to carry out a bombing on a children's school in Iran, killing 170 mostly school children. This is the role of Midland workers in this supply chain, and this is exactly how the Canadian weapons industry is supposed to work. Companies in Canada, who are often owned and operated by Americans, make parts of the weapons that get shipped to the US and incorporated into full weapons systems. The companies expect to have full access to the massive market that is the American war machine, so our government imposes no checks or balances that would ensure that the products we make are used responsibly. Any weapons company that sets up in Barrie, even a weapons company that's a Canadian weapons company, would want access to the American market and would want to operate the same way as Raytheon, making our neighbors, parents, and children partners in this bloody game. We can do better with $50 million of our tax dollars. Government spending on military production is an inefficient way to create jobs. When governments spend $1 million on weapons production, about 5 jobs are created. When they spend that same amount on education, 13 jobs are created and 8 for healthcare. This is because spending on social services helps meet people's basic needs, which allows them to participate more fully in their community, including by working. For example, if you spend on long-term care beds, you directly create employment by hiring nurses and PSWs, but you also indirectly create jobs by freeing up caregivers. If a middle-aged person is looking after their elderly parent, when that parent finds placement in long-term care, the middle-aged person can then pick up time at work. So there's an amplified benefit to the investment in social services. They are better for the economy than investments in military production. When you read this amendment in the Community Improvement Plan, it's clear that job creation is a secondary consideration. It defines the discounts that weapons companies will receive with numbers attached, but it does not specify any minimum number of jobs that should be created. It only states that, quote, priority will be given to projects that have a large amount of new/redeveloped gross floor plan, aka big projects, and large investment values, aka expensive, or significant employment impact. So as vague and underwhelming as the term significant employment impact is, even that is not required by the letter of this plan, as long as the project is physically large and expensive. I don't think this wording is an oversight, but even if it is, it clearly shows where the priorities lie. Why not stipulate that the company must create a certain number of jobs, or link the discounts that they receive to the number of jobs created? This would have been an easy requirement to put in if creating jobs was the point, instead of giving handouts to weapons company execs. It's almost like this amendment was written by one of those execs, and maybe it was. We may get more information on the big winner before the municipal election in the fall. Simcoe County for Palestine will continue campaigning on this issue through the summer, and I invite anyone here, including any councillors who want to break ranks, to sign the public letter that I have attached and get in touch. I have about a minute left, so I'm just going to put forward a couple concrete questions that I'd like to have answered by staff. So the first one is a breakdown of the $50 million. I was interested to hear, Mayor Nuttall, that you said it was coming from tax capital reserve. And I understand you can't answer this question directly right now, but perhaps this is a question for staff later. How much of it is coming from tax capital reserve, and what's the cost of the waived development charges? Because I know that was part of the program, the Sovereign Investment Readiness Program, was that the development charges would be waived. So is that incorporated in that $50 million, or is that an additional sum of money? The second question I have is I'd like to see a study of what jobs could be created if this same amount of money was diverted into building non-market homes, similar to the co-op model that the County of Simcoe currently operates. And just quickly, my last question is, why is it necessary, this is pertaining to the next item on the agenda, why is it necessary with concrete examples to allow companies to be exempt from zoning bylaws? Thanks.
Mayor Nuttall, the floor is yours. Just a quick question. Have you had any conversations with any of the RVH hospital execs on considerations of the city of Barrie and to support for the same things you're talking about tonight in terms of investment in healthcare? So there's 8 jobs for every $1 million.
Yeah.
Have you had any of those conversations?
No.
I would encourage you to. 2, have you heard of SAFE? Do you know what SAFE is?
No.
Okay, so I would encourage you to go look at what SAFE is. It's not going to the United States. It's not going to President Trump. It's actually building Canadian sovereignty away from that. It's tied to basically the European Union, or at least the main powers in the European Union.
So would Rachel Elton be included in that?
I would encourage to, Canada signed up on that. That's federal government, not us. So, but I would encourage you just to go take a look at that, because there's lots of information in there that can be looked at. And you had a third question, which was about the housing. And so, are you familiar with the decisions the City of Barrie has made in terms of housing?
I am familiar, yes.
Can you tell me?
There's many decisions that the City of Barrie has made on housing, right? What I'm talking about is the question of this $50 million.
So in terms of affordable housing,
that should go.
In terms of affordable housing, the City of Barrie invested $80 million in a fund last August and September, which has yielded, I believe, because of our vote 2 weeks ago, about 420 units of affordable housing coming forward, on top of, inside of about 2,000 new purpose-built rental, which is on top of another probably 1,000 purpose-built rental and affordable housing units that are being built in the City of Barrie. So we can provide that information to you. I know that staff will get back to you with the rest of the questions, like answers to the questions that you asked, but we will also provide you all of that information, because the dollars that the city has invested, we're actually seeing every crane you see in the sky is likely part of that program to build affordable housing in the City of Barrie.
Right, so this is another $50 million though, right? Which could also be used for
No,
building housing.
actually, no. So we'll send you the information so you have it, but the program wasn't fully utilized. So there was a $17 million amount that was left over that wasn't utilized because we didn't have it in the community. And the dollar for dollar, when you compare it against the county program that you just talked about, tonight we just approved $225,000 to the rent supplement program to help the county with funding that's coming.
$225,000 compared to $50 million?
So, Mr. Chair, maybe we should shut the mic off. But the $225,000 that was approved tonight is the rent supplement program, but that's not the $80 million we approved and the $63 million that has actually been accepted. So what we're seeing in the City of Barrie is more affordable housing built right now, as we speak right now, than in the past 30 years probably combined. That is all because council has made made the decisions and encouraged in the way that you've articulated you would like that to be looked at tonight. The program was bigger than the actual amount was that was taken by the private sector. And per unit, we're looking at somewhere between a fifth and an eighth of the cost that the county has to build affordable housing units. So it's incredibly efficient. So we'll send you all that information. Make sure that you have it, sir. And I think that will certainly help in terms of answering many of the questions. Thanks.